DA. It was supposed to go to City Council the end of last month, and abruptly it was pulled from the agenda. We were never told why it was pulled from the agenda. It's particularly puzzling because it's such a great project, and I think it's a very valuable project for the city. What I'd like to do is share some of what I think are benefits to the city so that the City Council can reconsider their decision. Number one, it's the project itself and the Foods for Less supermarket is a benefit to the city. It's a mainstream market. It's a full-size, full-service market, 63,000 square feet. It's a new, exciting shopping experience for the residents of Hawaiian Gardens. The closest mainstream market that's full-size is over at Valley View and Beach Boulevard. It's a lucky save-on. Does about $30 million a year in sales. Those dollars, that sales tax revenue could be pulled into Hawaiian Gardens if you had a full-size supermarket at this intersection. People tend to shop in brand new large supermarkets. You've only got about 14 or 15,000 people in the city of Hawaiian Gardens. If you go a mile and a half outside the intersection of Norwalk and Carson, a mile and a half radius, you have over 70,000 people. That represents about $2 million a week in grocery purchases that you can pull into the city of Hawaiian Gardens if you had a full-size supermarket at this intersection. Another benefit of the project is that currently it's an eyesore. The property that's owned by the city is partially zoned manufacturing, it's partially zoned retail. It does the city absolutely no benefit. Its highest and best use is to combine the property with the Dr. Kim property next door to take advantage of the corner of Norwalk and Carson. That is the key intersection in the city. So this project would create a dynamic retail shopping center for the city of Hawaiian Gardens. Another point I wanted to share is that ultimately, in a phase 2 or phase 3, we would like to integrate the home base center with this project. Home base it's a marginal store. 3 years ago, it was offered for sublease. The shopping center across the freeway, which is in Long Beach. It will likely cripple the home base. We think by integrating the home base shopping center into the Foods for Less shopping center, creating better visibility, cross-access to Carson and Norwalk, and opening up the window of visibility, it'll help sales and it might keep home base alive. And again, it'll create an integrated, dynamic shopping center. One other point I'd like to make is that obviously we've offered appraised value for the property. That money can go to pay for some judgments against the city that I understand the city has against it. We're not asking for assistance from the city, and basically we're ready to move at any moment. Also, if there's some controls that the city would like to place on the project, some use controls, be happy to do that in the way of deed restrictions, casino, bookstores, pornographic bookstores, liquor stores. We'd be happy to discuss that with the city anytime. That's basically it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Excuse me. Go ahead.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, council members. My name is Paul Lubay. I'm with Ralph's Grocery Company, 1100 West Artesia Boulevard, Compton, California. Food for Less is excited about this project. We've done extensive research on this project, and we'd like to make the capital investment required to come to this project. We've done extensive research on the area, and we know that we can exist there very well. We can have a profitable store, and we know that the other supermarkets in town can exist as well. Will we take some sales away from them? Yes, we will, because we'll be a brand new major large supermarket. Will we shut them down? No, we will not. As Robert explained, there's a lot of float, is the term we use, a lot of sales that are going out of the area to other supermarkets, to other parts of the town and the county. What we're going to be doing is stopping, or at least slowing down the float, keeping the sales tax dollars in your town, which will be significant. We'll be employing over 100 people in this facility. They're all union jobs, and so we think that there'll be a lot of good benefits for that. We just would like to thank the city for their time, and we look forward to being a part of this project. I'm available for any questions. I brought some boards which are a representation of the way our stores look, and I have a few brochures that do the same as well. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Thank you.
Sue Underwood, 12424 Farlow Street. And over the weekend, I'm sure that almost everybody in the city received a flyer concerning the Food for Less. I didn't appreciate the way it was written, but I understand who wrote it, and it was a disgruntled ex-council member, so I'm just putting that out as, it was sad. It was just the way it was written. But as a resident here who does shop in the city, I too would encourage you to do a little more thinking on the Food for Less. For the fact that Max Foods is going out, as you know, and a store, I believe it's called Top Value, is coming in. And if you go back far enough, I'm sure Albertsons owns Top Value somewhere along the line. Albertsons has a system of opening a business in Albertsons, and then if they don't get the clientele or the profit they want, then it goes to a Max Foods, then it goes one step below a Max Foods. I don't know what Top Value is going to be like, but right now we have Vaughn's, which caters to the Orange County crowd. They told me that yesterday, that they've lost a lot of profit because of all the road work being done out there on Lincoln. And so we have a store that is overpriced, and we have Max Foods. And Max Foods is a good store, but with that is basically middle income, low income people shop there. I shop there a lot. But the only problem I have with a Food for Less is the fact of any of the problems with condemnation. We cannot afford any more lawsuits from condemnation. I understand there's a possibility of some contaminated soil in the area. We cannot afford, as a city, to take care of the contaminated soil. I can't remember the doctor's name that owns the place, but he's been telling all of his people in there, get out, move, move. I've sold the property, so move. We cannot afford to relocate the people. And as this gentleman said about making stipulations, as it would not be anything but a Food for Less. This is one thing that's happened in our city in the past. They buy it for one thing and then something else is built there. So if there is a possibility of reconsidering, because I don't know, I hope it's not political. I hope that it was not a political move on anybody's part up there. And you all know me, and you know that I'll say what I feel, and I'll still be your friend, Betty. But the point is, I doubt it was political, but I'm just asking that if this is a viable business for our city, it would be great to have a Kmart or something like there, because it'd be different. But we tried that in the past and we didn't get it. They don't want to come in here. It's too close to the other Kmarts and so on. And so we need the revenue. And yes, most of it will go to the litigation we're involved in now. But it would enhance our city to have something there that is going to be viable to our people, and a Food for Less would be. So I'm just encouraging you to just consider it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Alan Kelko, 21930 Horst Avenue. I would like to speak in favor of the project that this gentleman mentioned tonight. First thing, we are under a judge's ruling that we need to pay off our redevelopment debts, and it's in the millions of dollars. And I think it's very arrogant of us to turn down a good project when we've been ordered to pay these monies. I think the fuel tank thing is a story. I don't think it's true. It hasn't been proved. Maybe we can get the documentation that backs up Mayor Pro Tem Scheider's story. The DDA that these people wrote, I think, was very good, and they would have paid for all inverse condemnations, no cost to the city. I think a very good deal. I wish that we had done such a good DDA with the doctor on the casino. This is an excellent DDA. So, by the vote that occurred at the last meeting, we turned down $1,150,000 plus approximately $140,000 a year. The property that we have right now there is run down. Nothing's gone on there for about the last 12 years. It is urban blight, and it's getting worse. I just saw a report that the general fund has a deficit of $1,838,000. Mr. Scheider, you still have not found that $3 or $4 million that you claimed we were hiding. Hope you find it soon, because we are broke.
No, we're not.
Now, so I think it's a good project. I think if you have something else in mind, I think you should have that tonight. If you don't have anything else in mind, I think it's irresponsible and very poor planning. And like the gentleman was saying, these are good paying jobs that would be created. These are not minimum wage jobs. And our community needs jobs. We were promised 1,500 jobs from that casino. I don't think we have that many yet. Okay? I don't think we can afford to turn down any jobs. So maybe it's not the best project in the world. The staff did work on it for months. And one thing as a council member, I did listen to the expertise of my staff. Okay? They have decades of experience. They went to college studying redevelopment and how to manage a city. And for you to just erase that with one vote, I think is arrogant and irresponsible. And I hope you will reconsider tonight.
Went to
For the
college,
sake
too.
of the people. I hope that your ego does not get in the way. You will do what is best for the people. Thank you.
Well, I went to college too, and I actually worked here. I was staff. 9 years.
Robert Canada, 21607 Juan Avenue. Got to give Alan credit, he's still pitching the ball. When he was up there, it was a whole different story. When he was down here before that, he's throwing the ball. Now he's back throwing the ball. The problem with any food store going in there is we know that from before there's contaminated soil there. We know the inverse condemnation suits are coming. The city doesn't have the money. If Ralph's is really willing to accept those in writing in front of a judge to be responsible for all inverse condemnation, for all contaminated soil, and for any lawsuits arriving out of them moving into there, then maybe it should be looked at. But unless they're willing to do that, this city doesn't have the money and the residents don't have the desire to be put through that any longer. One other item that's not on the agenda, Mr. Calcote, it is illegal to pass out political documents in these chambers. Please refrain from doing so.
Good evening, Your Honor. My name is Sam Yee, and I'm speaking on behalf of the property owner on the corner of Carson and Norwalk. The property is run down for 10 years, and Dr. Kim had owned the property for about 12 years. And every time we try to improve the property, city official told us to buy that the lot adjacent to owned by city and develop it together. And we finally brought somebody who's going to develop the property. Now we were object last time. And as I said, we don't have any contamination involved because we had a phase 1 and 2 several months ago. And we don't have any condemnation issue because we worked out with our existing tenant. We're going to pay them a relocation fee, and they're willing to and happily go out of the building. And I strongly urge that this project will be passed for the benefit of City of Hawaiian Garden. Thank you, sir.
Ralph Casina, 22016 Pioneer Boulevard, former councilman, former mayor, and I'm very disappointed with the three of you on the council turning this project down. It's a good project. It's something that's going to benefit the city, and I wish you would reconsider it. There is no contamination. I think there is a certificate issued that it was cleared up 3 or 4 years ago. I don't know what the stall is or why, but you're doing wrong to the city. There's a $10 million project that you're jeopardizing. Don't do it, please. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Sally Enriquez. I also work with CNC Development. I'm an attorney that's represented CNC throughout this transaction. And I just want to clarify one thing, that we are perfectly aware of the financial challenges that the city is facing. And we've agreed already at the DDA that if there is any condemnation for parcels other than the parcels involved in these deals, that we will completely cover any costs that the city would incur. As it's proposed right now, Phase 1, which would involve the property the agency currently owns, as well as Dr. Kim's property, as Mr. Yee said, will not require any condemnation and wouldn't really pose a threat of inverse condemnation, because we've reached deals with all the tenants on Dr. Kim's property so that they're willingly going to move and we're going to help them with relocation costs. There is a proposal for a Phase 2, and I think that's both for the benefit of the city in terms of your goals of redeveloping that corner and making an integrated project. We have, as I mentioned, said that we would cover any cost the city would incur in connection with that condemnation, and we'd be open to discussion if the city is uncomfortable with that provision. And regarding any environmental issues, again, we understand the challenges that you're facing, and we're open to any kind of further discussion you want to have on how to prepare or how to ensure that the city is protected against any unforeseen costs. I think the basic message that we're trying to get across here is that we're very excited about this project, and we would like to do anything we can to work with you as partners to bring this project to realization. If there's any remaining concerns, just tell us what those concerns were. We've been negotiating this over 7 months. We're willing to negotiate it a few weeks further to try to resolve those business concerns. But what we don't want to see is have this project die due to lack of communication. I think people have expressed the benefits that this will bring to the city of Hawaiian Gardens, and we hope that we can work together and bring this to realization. Thank you.
My name is Floyd Ferrara. I live at 12550 East Carson, space 59. I live at the mobile home park down there, and the corner of Bloomfield and Carson is getting to be a real bottleneck. Is there any time in the future, or my lifetime, or the next millennium, that street is ever going to be fixed? Sunday, the traffic was backed up to Norwalk Boulevard. I pass that intersection every single day. There hasn't been one lick of work done on it in a minimum of 2 weeks. Is there anyone working on that? Is there any way we can get a lane opened up and get that arrow machine out of there? This is getting to be insane. There's been no physical work done on that intersection for a minimum of 2 weeks. Now, I know a lot of this is being dictated by the city of Cypress, which you don't have a lot of control over. But we sure got a lot of control over that intersection, and this is getting to be a real major problem. The lights are out atop both of the signals. I've reported that twice. Nobody seems to want to take care of that. You know, the list gets a little endless, you know. Unless something can be done, can you at least put a major sign, do not block intersection? I'd like to be able to get out of my house once in a while. The traffic is really bad down there sometimes. You know, I'm sounding like I'm upset. Yes, I am. And the majority of the rest of the people in that park are upset too, because nothing's being done. You know, is this going to be into the next century, or is there any time that this might be finished? Can we put a fire under somebody, stir up some poop? You know, there's enough to be stirred up about Carson and Norwalk. I'm not talking about that. But please, you know, we need to have that intersection cleared up. It's getting to be a major problem.
I absolutely agree with you.
Thank you very much.
I absolutely agree with you. And you know what? We will contact the city of Cypress and voice our vehement protest and what they've done. I was there on Sunday. I seen it. It was an absolute nightmare.
Thank you.
I know I got caught there yesterday going out for a visit in Forest Lawn.
John Heckerman, 12550 East Carson Street, space number 2. I echo his feelings regarding that intersection. It's been a mess for a long time. But then that's Cypress that's causing that problem more than anything else.
Yeah, but we can contact Cypress and voice our protest.
Basically, what I'm down here for is, again, the communication thing here in Hawaiian Gardens. I want to compliment the council on finally having the council proceedings broadcast throughout the last month. Now, I would ask that since the Press Telegram has chosen not to put anything regarding Channel 36 Access and Hawaiian Gardens together, that we put that on Channel 36 and give the people a chance to see what days and what time that the council proceedings will be broadcast for those that are unable to make council proceedings here. Secondly, I was saddened to hear that Paul Robbins of the Community News, the Reed's Community News, has passed away. And he was a very good reporter, in as much as that he was giving balanced reports in this little newspaper. Far more balanced than I could say that the Press Telegram has ever done for us. I don't know if anybody has, well, yes, I know that people have seen the last 2 stories in the last 2 Press Telegrams of a week ago. They're very unbalanced. They do not go into the entire story. At least in this Community News, you get a more balanced reading of what is going on within the community and in and the whys and wherefores of why council members have decided to vote the way they have. Mr. Segura chooses to say one thing: the doctor is behind it. The doctor is behind it. He seems to have a real problem with the doctor. Maybe he ought to sit down someday and talk to the doctor instead of talking about it. He might find something that he has in common, such as a little bit of truth that he doesn't seem to know too much about. Regarding the city of Hawaiian Gardens, we are a good community. We're a community of working people, blue-collar people that are working hard to try and have a better community here. As far as the Ralph's supermarket is concerned, with the Food for Less chain, they are a good group. In fact, they were a customer of ours for the company that I worked for at one time. We took care of all of their electric forklifts at one time. They are an excellent group of people to work with. But I leave that entirely up to the council. You know more about that than we out here as citizens do. You have more to deal with than we do. But again, I would ask again, regarding the communications with the people, as soon as we can, as soon as the money is available, let's get a little community newspaper going here in the city so that the people know what's going on and get the truth of what's going on, and not innuendo or anything else, or it's anything by Joe Segura, because you know you're not going to get the truth out of that man. Thank you.
Thank you, John.
I have a few questions for it seems like everybody's finished with their comments. I know there was some concerns from Mayor Pro Tem on this project. I'd just like to ask the gentleman, whoever can answer this, and I believe that some questions were answered already.
Mayor, Mr. Alvarez.
Yes.
If I can interject, we have received correspondence from CNC's attorneys that they may pursue litigation over this matter. For that reason, this matter is best discussed in closed session for the time being. And I would advise and strongly recommend that the council not discuss this matter in public at this point.
Could I ask a question?
I'm only making a recommendation and giving you advice.
Your attorney's telling you that these people are going to sue us.
I'm going to ask. I'd like to ask a
mean,
question.
if they're going to sue us, let's not give them ammo to sue, okay?
Well, I'd just like to ask the question. The proper paperwork, I mean, there was some concerns about possible litigation from the people that are renting there coming back to the city. That has been, in the DDA, my understanding is all taken care of, right?
Our understanding of the confirm that is that for those tenants
If you can come up to the podium, please.
For those tenants who have lease terms that will extend beyond the time that CNC plans to take over the property and start development of the project, we've reached independent agreements with them where they will voluntarily give up their lease and move out. And in exchange for that, we're going to give them rent concessions for the period up until that time. And I believe, was there some payments as well? Yes. And some payments as well to help them with relocation expenses. So the only tenants who are planning to stay beyond the next few months will receive financial assistance so that they can relocate.
Would it be any cost to the city whatsoever?
No, there will be no cost to the city whatsoever. We've understood, I think, right from the beginning that this needs to be a transaction where CNC covers the majority of the cost so that the city won't be in a position where they're facing out-of-pocket expenses.
And the proper waivers and documents will be put in place for both parties to sign?
Certainly. I can't speak for Dr. Kim, but correct, Sam, you'd like to address that?
Yes, we have a stipulated agreement between tenants and landlord to subsidize the relocation cost. And it's been signed right here. If you want to see, I can give it to you.
Thank you.
I have a question. This is to Mr. Lopez. I gave you some information concerning the contamination gas tank that Mr. Chidas alluded to the last council meeting. Did you pass that information out to everybody?
No, I didn't get a chance to.
Okay, but we have documentation. You have it in your hand or in your office that there is no gas tank, that it was cleared by the state, that the gas tank's been gone for about, 4 years, according to that information. And I also gave copies to planning department, and they verified that there is no contamination there. I just want to make that clear because Mr. Chida said that there was a tank there, and I was hoping that he'd get information so he could check that out. If that was one of the main concerns that I asked the Mayor Pro Tem. And another concern was that Tacos Aguayo didn't want to leave. I think the mayor said that they didn't want to leave. Well, I've talked to Mr. Jesus Macias. They not only want to leave, they've taken steps to leave. They've already signed an agreement. They're going to receive some money, and they're going to be relocating next to the, what is it, Shoes for Less. The place where they're at is an old building, and they have a lot of health problems. And it's inadequate parking, inadequate seating, so they want to move. And those were the two concerns Mr. Chida had. So I just want to let you know that. And according to Mr. Macias, Mr. Leonard Chida never talked to him.
I never talked to him. I never said I did. I never said I talked to Mr.
I think you did, Leonard. Well, okay, well, that's...
I never said I talked to that guy.
Excuse me. Can you guys hear me okay? My name is Tony Barrera. I live at 218 Elaine Avenue, an ex-employee of the city. I have worked here for 5 years, serving the community. This building that they want to put up for the Food for Less thing sounds good, but we also did the walk and did all kinds of different votings and stuff for the casino to go up. And they also said that they were going to open it all up and all the residents was going to be able to have employment there, or that we're going to get some help. And I haven't seen anything go this way for the residents due to employment. I have seen a lot of construction work. I have spoken to different people in the offices, and I don't see any of our residents getting any kind of employment there. So if and in case when you guys are behind your closed session or you decide to go for or against this Food for Less, think of the residents who is, they're explaining that it's a revenue coming in for the city and there'll be jobs. Well, if somewhere along your documentation and stuff, you could see that the residents at some point or time have a first choice or a first come, first serve, something like that situation for the residents to have some kind of employment, because there still is a lot of ex-employees that has served the community that is still out of work or that is struggling to get even to where they were. Because even to go to get another job, you have to start at minimum wage. Everything you go, every place you go, everything you apply for is minimum wage, minimum wage. Well, a lot of people here that had served the community already, it's very, very hard for them to go and get another job at where they were, which where they were comfortable, they were surviving, they were making ends meet, everything was okay. But now, the Food for Less wants to come in, and they're also saying that we're going to have employment and whatnot, but yet there's nothing down in documentation or anything saying that, yeah, okay, residents, you can come in and you can work and you can apply. Everything that I do see that goes up in this community, they've already have other people coming in from other stores, other locations, other cities, and all it is transfers. Oh yeah, you know, we're going to transfer you over here. You know, we're going to transfer you to Hawaiian Gardens. Oh yeah, well, where's the residents at? Where's their place of employment? They've served the community plenty of times. So I just want you to take that into consideration and think about what the casino has said and what they had said and done, that all the residents have employment and there's going to be jobs and there's going to be work. I don't see anybody, the residents over there working for the casino. And you see all kinds of construction. I'm sure there's a lot of residents here, men and women, that wouldn't mind getting a shovel and digging a hole over there to help them put that building up. I haven't heard anything on the casino. I haven't heard any flyers. I haven't seen any pictures. And everything is hearsay. Why don't somebody get out some flyers and get some pamphlets or something and pass it all out to the residents, just like you do for the city dump day. You know, here's a postal thing, stamp it, mail it out. Everybody gets one in their mailbox. There's no excuse. Everyone. I haven't seen nothing on the casino. What's so hard about putting in a staple and a stamp there and send it out to all your residents to say, hey, guess what? The casino's under construction. But not any residents. They're not working there. Thank you for your time.
I'd like to just answer Tony, and you're right, and that's the thing that a lot of our residents get left out. I believe, Tony, and this question is to you as well as maybe an answer to Ms. Barrera, we got this, that this can be an empowerment zone. Is that effective, or is that still in place, Assembly Bill, or what's the status of
Assembly
that?
Bill 1613 is still going through the process.
But it's a good chance that we may get it through, right?
It's a political at the state level, and it won't be addressed until it goes through all the various committees. It's about a year process.
But our legislators are supporting that, and they're behind us 100%.
Yes.
Okay, so if that happens, any business that comes in here will get a benefit to hire the residents. In other words, they will get a tax write-off, and I think that will be the benefit to encourage anyone coming in to hire within. So if they get a tax write-off, a benefit from the state, which is not going to hurt the city, I think we can all benefit. And you're right. I think, you know, a lot of these people don't have cars, don't have method of transportation, and there are no excuses for anyone making any false promises that they're going to be jobs. I would expect that, and I feel comfortable with you know, with someone telling me this, but I also like to see right away get hired, and then that will show the support from the community. You know, I know a lot of people go out to shop elsewhere. We forget about the benefits of our community. Shop within the community. When I go to certain stores that says, you know, you're the only one that comes in here from the people that counsel. I says, you know, because I get the best meat here. You know? I mean, there's some benefits, but also it leaves a little something in the community that we get back in return. And sometimes you can save a dime, but hurt the city, you know, with a quarter or so. But I encourage anybody bringing in a business to look into that, and I believe this bill would be a benefit to any business people. I want to be business friendly. I like to encourage somebody to, or enough people to fulfill all these vacancies that are eyesores, that are a problem, and so this city can have a different image. If we were to only do that with every main artery, we would see the benefit, and then we would see the neighboring businesses starting to clean it up themselves. So let's do that. Let's not you know, go backwards. We have to go forwards.
Thank you, Placido. Tony, don't you have something on public hearings and?
No, I didn't have, did I see you?
Oh,
I'd like
okay.
to make one more comment. At Ralph's and Food for Less, we are a union house. The union does control some of the hiring practices. We do, when we get ready to open up a project, put a trailer on the site, take applications and job interviews and do training at the site. And we do work with the community. We have a community relations department. Do we transfer some people in? Absolutely. We have to bring in experienced people from other areas to bring in. We can't hire in non-experienced people to run it, but we do bring some in, and we do augment, obviously, very heavily from the neighborhood, and we want to attract people from the neighborhood.
Thank you.
I'm going to call on Joe.
Joe?
In public hearing?
Is this for item A1?
Yeah.
This was a public hearing that is, staff has recommended that we continue this item. We are still working with the property owner. We've identified the property owner, and we're trying to work out the garage conversion dilemma so that the tenant can move her belongings in the garage. So staff has recommended that this item be continued to the June 8, 1999 City Council meeting.
Move to continue.
Is that those two addresses on 224th?
Right. This would
Okay.
be 12246 and 12248, 224th Street. This was a public nuisance abatement for a property located at 12246 and 12248, 224th Street. Staff is recommending that we continue this item to June 8, 1999 to allow staff time to work with the property owner in eliminating the garage conversion so we can get the tenant to move her personal belongings in the garage.
Second that continuation of Mayor Pro Tem 46-99.
We need a roll call vote?
Yeah, I mean,
We don't need a roll call, but if you want to.
Well, if we don't need it, we don't need it.
Well, you need to vote.
Voice vote.
Ayes or noes.
Everyone in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone object? Okay, thank you. We have no ordinances at this time. And under resolutions, we have the ABC Dental Health Center, Resolution 5299. Tony?
Yes, Mayor and Council, I'm not sure, to be honest with you, I understand that Mrs. Lamb was going to be here this evening. I don't know, but I don't think she, oh, okay. We received the, step forward, please, appreciate it. We received a letter from ABC requesting for the termination of the contract in regards to the dental office, and we have later on in the agenda, we're asking for authorization to proceed with a new contract for the service. I don't know if you want to expound on the...
On behalf of what we're doing.
Yeah.
My name is Judy Lamb. I'm a resident of Artesia, and I'm Vice President of the ABC Dental Health Center that has been gracing the facilities here for a number of years. We had made a decision, we've been contemplating over the last number of years what to do with the clinic in order to secure the services that we can provide for the children, predominantly down here in this area. Councilmember Placido Alvarez has served on our board, so he's been very well aware of what we've been trying to do. Over the last 10 years, our funding has dropped immensely, and we've tried to figure out ways in which to establish better funding for the clinic. So we made a decision a few months ago with the assistance of the Long Beach Children's Dental Health Center that they were willing to absorb us and let us become a part of them. So we are currently in the process of closing down our nonprofit after over 45 years of being a nonprofit organization. It's been an emotional experience for those of us that have been involved for a long time, especially somebody like myself who's been very attached to PTA because they've been one of your major sponsors of the dental clinic down here. But to secure the future for your children that predominantly use the clinic down here in this area, we have made this decision, and the Long Beach clinic will offer much more ability to provide better services. Can expand on the services that will be available to the low-income children down here in this area. So what we're hoping that you will do is allow us to turn the program over to Long Beach and let them assume the lease agreement and the contract that we have with you. At this particular time, we're in the process of closing our services down, and we will turn our funds over to Long Beach that will be used especially for the children here. And at this time, we're looking in the neighborhood of about $50,000 to $65,000 that we will have left to turn over. And I do believe that they're going to set up some kind of funding for all of the communities that sponsor the ABC children, that the funding that comes from the other communities, like from Artesia, Cerritos, and the continued support from the PTAs will feed only to take care of the students that are serviced down here in the ABC School District area. So if you have any questions for me, hopefully I can answer them. If not,
Tony, if I may, I don't know, it wouldn't be a problem. I serve on the board directors, for the dental. It wouldn't be a conflict, right? Because there's no gain. It's just a volunteer.
You're a volunteer?
Yes.
You don't receive...
Nothing. It's just offering services. I support this dental office. It's something that, it's through the ABC School District, or ABC, that covers mainly Artesia, Cerritos, Lakewood, Hawaiian Gardens, and little section of Long Beach. And what's happened in the past is that there hasn't been enough money to really get it going. And this is at times very minimal or free to some children where the doctors pitch in, whatever they're supposed to pay for, sometimes to go to a different lab or go somewhere else. I'd like to see that continue here for the rest of the council, and for us to make the decision to turn it over, because the mainly it's our kids that get the service, right? The highest percentage of children that don't have dental insurance or can't go anywhere come here. I know Cerritos participates in this, a PTA put money in, the school district, but the main and the people that participate in this is our kids. I'd hate to see us lose that and have our kids, miss out. I've seen some pictures when I first was asked to volunteer, and before and after. I mean, this is major work to some of the kids, this dental work, and after they did it, their smiles and everything came back, and so they're an excellent organization. When I say they, is the teamwork that's there, and the dentists that are involved. Also a lot of them volunteering at time, other ones get paid. But if we can continue that, let's do that, and not terminate, but end the lease and continue it with Long Beach.
If I could ask a question, what is the percentage of Hawaiian Gardens kids that are served by the
I would say probably 85% of our clientele is from Hawaiian Garden students. We get a tremendous percentage from Betty, Ferguson Elementary, Melbourne, Hawaiian, all of the schools down here. We feed, what the process has been is that we take care of students that have no ability to have Medi-Cal and or medical insurance at all. So a lot of your children that live down here, this is their only source for them to be able to get, dental care. And like I said, it's been in existence for over 45 years. It was originally started by PTA moms up in Artesia.
So you're saying 85% of your clientele come from the city of Hawaiian Gardens?
Come from this, yes. And so when we were having funding problems, a lot of us were on the board, we were trying to decide what could we do to secure the ability for the children down here to get dental health care without having to leave the city. This was our main concern. And we didn't have any options. We didn't know what to do or how to handle it because we know that the clinic is close here, especially for the children that attend Ferguson. And when we had a chance to talk to Long Beach, they already have a couple satellite programs existing in other communities. They were willing to be able to come in and function here, still at the center, come in and do some renovating and whatever to allow those children to still have the ability to come here instead of saying that we have to make the children go to Long Beach. So once that option came to us at the board of directors, we were thinking, our concern is what is to do for the best for the children that service the ABC. And this was a viable option for us. Our only other option is to completely close it down, and then we don't know where the children will go. And we just didn't want to do that. We wanted to secure the services for the children. They offer more services than we were able to offer. Children will be able to get periodontic work done. They'll be able to get orthodontic work done. They'll be able to have more ability to do much, much more. And it was just the wisest decision, the best for us to do. Heartbreaking, but it was the best to do. And this way we feel it will just continue on, and you will continue getting community support from the other communities around. So.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt resolution 52-99.
Second.
Second. Roll call vote.
Councilmember Pita?
Aye.
Councilmember Alvarez?
Yes.
Councilmember Cabrera?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Chaitis?
Aye.
Mayor Schultz?
Yes. Next, we have the application for participation in the summer food service program,
Motion
resolution
approved.
5399.
Second.
Okay, roll call vote.
Councilmember Pita?
Yes.
Councilmember Alvarez?
Yes.
Councilmember Cabrera?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Chaitis?
Yes.
Mayor Schultz?
Yes. And next, under resolutions, 5499, warrants and payrolls, with the amount of $66,797.74.
I move to approve this item with the following exceptions. It's in here. Invoice number 283223. Invoice number 283209. Invoice number 283463. Legal services to Franzel, Sharon, Kaplan, and Robbins. Invoice number 285175, 285189, 285177. Again, Franzel, Share, Robbins, and Kaplan. And that's it.
Chaitis, if I may ask, is it because you're angry at the Franzel and Share or at the attorney, or what the reason behind non-payment?
I believe we need to review those items and look and see if those charges are proper.
You make the motion?
I made the motion.
Okay. Do you have a second?
Has the finance department checked this? Would they put them on here if they weren't proper?
I'm sorry?
Has the finance department checked these items, and if they were improper, would they put them in here?
I, as a finance committee member, wasn't apprised of those invoices, and I need to look at them.
while staff can make recommendations, the elected body can anytime delete or add.
Call for
Did
the
you
question.
on the finance committee get any backup papers and everything? on
There
this?
always is.
There always
Yeah,
is?
we
Sure,
have-
if not, you can ask for them.
We have always got them in the past. You have gotten Betty.
Yeah.
You have gotten the invoices every single time.
I have.
Yeah. We have, of course, Mr. Titus came in after, so the invoices have been in for every incident. I think, we do owe a lot of money, and we should pay everything that we can back. I mean, with what little that we have. Of course, this may be subject to availability of funds. That's the way I like to place it.
Well, that's the way it always is.
Okay.
Got
But,
a motion on the floor.
we have to really look at this and not use it as anger or, retaliation, or because just, angry at somebody or the
Well, I'm
organization. or the
surprised that
person.
that firm is the only one that we don't owe a lot of money to. Everybody else we owe, but we
Yeah.
don't owe them very much.
We paid them a lot of money.
Well,
Probably
We-
less than
Or less than the employer.
200,000 right now.
How much do we
And I
have?
thought, I think we owe them less than 200,000 altogether.
I'll say yes, and I like
And
to.
I thought we owed them thousands and thousands.
I'd say
I thought
yes.
it was about 230. I don't know about
Well,
that.
I was just surprised when I found out that they had been paid everything except that. You
My,
know?
there's a motion, I guess, on this already, or?
Right.
Is there in a
Yeah, it
second?
was second.
Okay.
Okay, roll call
And
vote.
Also, yes, I'd like to just, we're under discussion. And any attorney that brings in, of course, I'd like to see all the invoices as they've been done. And that is anyone in the past that may bring any documentation for charges, to revise that completely and make sure that we are paying for something that we owe. Yes on that.
Okay. Roll call vote.
Councilmember Peta? Councilmember
Yes.
Peta? Councilmember Alvarez?
Yes.
Councilmember Cabrera?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Titus?
Yes.
Mayor Schultz?
Yes. Under RDA Resolution 9914, we have approving pre-issued warrants and payrolls of $25,858.30.
That's under redevelopment.
Yeah, redevelopment. 4. There's bills on both of them, the council and redevelopment. For the firm.
I think I put it down there. I motion to approve accepting the invoices number 283-218, with the exception of 283-213, 283-215, 283-216, 283-217, Franzel, Scherer, Kaplan, Robbins, for investigation.
Oh, we have a second?
And, excuse me.
There's more.
Excuse me, there's more. There's so many. 285-180, 285-182, 285-190, 285-179, with those exceptions also. Jesus.
Is there a second on that already? or-
Roll call vote.
We don't have a second.
We don't have a second?
Second.
Under discussion, Ms. Schultz, on your previous vote, that means yes with the exception of those invoices, right? And Ms. Prida?
Yes.
Okay. I'd like to see them all, and as my previous vote, all to get paid. And this one, I think it would be in order to pay all that we owe without making exclusions or exceptions. I'd hate for us to be paying later on interest or possibly get into a situation where we're going to pay more.
Roll call vote.
Director Peta?
Yes.
Director Alvarez?
Yes, to include all invoices.
Director Cabrera?
Yes.
Vice Chair Member Titus?
Yes.
Chair Member Schultz?
Yes. stay under City Council, we have Resolution 5599. That's the Children's Dental Foundation.
Yes, Mayor Council, as earlier stated, was a termination in regards to the previous dental facility or provider. At this time, I'd like to ask, I believe, Mrs. Patty Acosta was here. Okay.
I think they both, I think they thought it was all approved, they didn't know it was the second portion. I'd like to wait for the reading since
It's the
nobody else.
same thing,
Yeah,
really,
wait for the
right?
reading and adopt resolution 55-99.
Yeah.
Discussion.
Okay.
I just had some, I had some concerns about the lease agreement because it's a fairly one-sided lease agreement. You know, with the risk of doing things that may not be in the best interest of the city, and I'm only thinking of myself. I think we should start looking at some of these agreements and try to see if there's a better way to structure these agreements so that the city does get some benefits, so we're not locked on by a number of agencies. For an example, to give you an example, for those people outside who don't know, the ABC Dental Health has been served by this city for many, many years, and rightfully so. It's a good organization. It's a fine 501c3 in-kind, I guess a 501c3 nonprofit corp. It takes a lot of in-kind contributions and that kind of thing, and they've done a lot of good here. What the city has done, though, in providing services to this particular nonprofit, it's provided them a space, it's provided them utilities, gas, water, and electric. According to this agreement here, we're also going to pay for their phone usage. We've provided them with equipment as the city of Hawaiian Gardens. We've provided them with probably the normal operations to run. We've just about funded this 501c3 completely. According to this, utilities, and I'm going to read this to you, okay? The city agrees to pay all in-kind charges when due. I don't know how you pay in-kind charges, but for the use of the sewer effluent treatment when and if imposed by any governmental authority, all water sprinklers, standby charges, electricity, gas, nominal telephone and other lighting, heating and power and utility rents and charges accruing payable to connection with these premises during the term of the lease and renewal. And extension or holdover thereof, whether the same or prorated or measured by separate meters. We're going to pay it all, okay? To let you know some of the support that we've done in the past for this nonprofit. You need to know this, okay? What this city has done for this nonprofit, which has been it's been a lot. In this agreement, it allows the nonprofit to take things down off the walls and not notify us, and not even to return the stuff they took down off the walls. I think we got to read our agreements and say, hey, you know, why don't you at least notify us that you're going to pull that light fixture down, okay? So we'll know that if somebody falls, they're not suing the city. That is something I think that we need to look at in an agreement like this. This is solely written by the nonprofit, and you know they're going to try to do their best to protect themselves, but it's not like we aren't a giving city with a lot of heart, okay? So, and I think what we need to do is maybe look at this agreement just a little bit more and talk about where we are liable. And I think there are points in this particular agreement, in this, you know, and believe me, I support the ABC Dental Clinic.
Doesn't seem like it.
I think they do a lot, but you know what? It's like any other agreement. Okay, you've got to read it. Okay, once you read it and you understand what it says, it puts the city in a pretty tough situation here on some of these items. I would like to bring this back on the next city council meeting and have the staff further review some of the items in this in this agreement, because it doesn't seem to me that it really benefits the city a lot. I think we need to look at an agreement that benefits the city. There's a section here that indemnifies and the clinic. We need to really look at this maybe a little bit closer, so that we can have a staff that kind of like decipher these things a little bit better. I would much rather know if they're going to take something down off the wall, that at least the city be notified. And apparently there's nothing in here that says that. In fact, it says just the opposite. The tenant's fixtures, the city agrees that the clinic may remove at its own expense during or at the expiration or termination of the term of the lease, or any extension holdover period thereof, as the case may be, all fixtures and equipment and all other personal property placed or installed in or upon the premises by the clinic, or under its authority. The clinic agrees that in the event that it removes any fixture or equipment, or that personal property or clinic placed or installed upon such premises by the clinic, or under its authority, the clinic shall restore the premises, repairing the holes. Okay, so like, they're going to take down our equipment, our fixtures, and they'll repair the holes. If you read these things, okay, you can see that, hey, you know, maybe we could wouldn't they just notify the city? Let us know what they're going to do? I mean, if you have somebody there that's on a ladder, we'd like to know what's going on. And if you're pulling a fixture down, we'd like to know what happened to it and that kind of thing.
I think Tony wants to
Tony,
talk.
for me, I wish I could take back that I participated as part of the board, and I believe that Mr. Chaidis is, his countering to this is for that purpose. And
that is not true.
That's
That
okay.
is absolutely not true.
That is a personal belief, Mr. Chaidis.
I just read you this. Do you
Thank
think
you,
that's a little
thank
bit
you for reading that. And if we can check in the past, this has been in existence for 40 years.
And the dental part was in the teen post way back when.
Right.
I remember that.
Okay, and if you can check back to see if they had done something without the consent of the city, I think, yeah, we should look into further. But this is nothing but good to the community. As they mentioned, over 85% of the kids that get service is our kids. There's a great benefit. The benefit, it costs about the average of $75 for a kid to just sit on a seat in a dental office. That is taken from that nonprofit, and this one they'll continue, will do the same. The dentists that are there allow them to volunteer the time, or it's very minimal. So it is a wonderful program. It is a great thing. I really, I'd like to invite everyone to go there, and I will not be part of this board anymore, and it's not because they have their own. But, I have seen nothing but good. There has been a number of times where the lady that is the director there has asked Mr. Joe Vasquez for assistance to see if they can or can't remove some items. And you can check with Mr. Vasquez on this. They are not going to do something to jeopardize their situation, to hurt the city. Why would you do that? If the city's providing a lot for them, that is correct. But at the same time, it is nothing but good for this community. Nothing but good. It really disappoints me because someone makes a statement, now that this person's in favor, I will counter that. That is sad. Look into your hearts. Touch your heart once in a while, and let it express what you feel. Let it
Okay,
really
let me express what I feel, okay? I'll express what I feel real quick, okay?
All right,
The
guys.
Children's Dental Foundation is not the ABC Dental Clinic, okay? It's a new nonprofit coming here. They have written a new lease. It's different than the ABC Dental lease.
It's the same terms.
It's not the same
ABC
terms.
is endorsing it though.
But I know, but you have a new lease. I mean, we're talking about the past, and I'm going to tell you, I was rec director here 5 years, gang. I worked very closely with the ABC Dental Clinic, and they're very good friends of mine, okay? And I support them all the way, and I've always supported the clinic. And I've done many things for that dental clinic. And I take an affront to what you're saying about just because you served on the board, I'm questioning. I'm questioning the actual agreement, and I think that we need to look at that agreement and inspect it a little bit more so that the city is not held in a situation where it may hurt from this new nonprofit that has written a new lease agreement. Straight from the heart.
Well, I'm sure, but there's things we could get out of it if it ends up being a big boo-boo.
Yeah, but if you agree to it, you're stuck to it.
Mayor and Council, I'd like to recommend adoption of Resolution 55-99 with the understanding of having approval or contingency on approval by the staff, the attorney, and also I'd like to have a committee of 2 elected officials involved in negotiations. The reason why is the concern I have here is that in the interest of time, because once again now we're talking about a dental clinic being shut down.
Yeah.
And once again, if I can have, call upon 2 elected individuals to serve on this committee, and that way we can just expedite this issue.
Sounds reasonable.
As I said, Mr. Lopez and I met, and the other option was to close the clinic. So that's like in my favor, going with this Long Beach.
Madam Mayor, we
They're
are
professional doctors, and they get inspected by the state.
And they have
And
their own
it's
insurance.
important.
For clarification, we're in discussion. There's already a first and a second. The matter is already on the table for approval as it is.
Okay.
So if that motion dies, if that vote dies, then you can continue to discuss this on
Or
a
if the
subsequent
maker
vote.
So call for the
and second
question.
rescind their original motion.
Was there a motion?
And the maker
Well,
was
okay,
Councilmember Alvarez, and the second was by Frida.
Okay, but that's, okay, I just want to clarify that if that motion dies, then I'd like to introduce a new motion.
Well, can they add that to that motion?
Can you
It
amend your
can be
motion?
amended if.
They can-
Okay,
they can amend
I'd
it.
like to amend my original motion
form a
to
committee.
make sure the committee, I'd like to recommend Ms. Schultz and Mr. Cabrera to be part of this committee to review the proper documents for the lease, and still goes with a second, so I'd like to call for the question.
It would be with a contingency of staff and the attorney.
Yes,
Yeah.
and the attorney, that, as you had
Especially the attorney.
recommended.
The second is.
For clarification, so that this doesn't have to come back to you.
Yeah.
Are you authorizing the committee to bind the city into this lease?
Yes.
But you'll be the boss.
You're
You're and Tony. Okay? Roll call vote.
Councilmember Frida?
Yes.
Councilmember Alvarez?
Yes.
Councilmember Cabrera?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Titus?
Yes.
Mayor Schultz?
Yes. Oh, well, that's done. Under the consent calendar?
Yes, Mayor and Council, at this time I'd like to request for the minutes to be pulled from the consent calendar and be brought at the next regular meeting.
Okay. Does that include the,
No, that's not.
Mr. Vick?
That was the consent. That's all. So that was consent.
Oh, okay. Okay, under discussion items, city council?
Yes, Mayor and Council, in reference to authorization to advertise for a telephone and voicemail system. I'd like to first, I'd like to call upon Paul to expound on this, but I'd like to qualify that this will be brought back to you, identifying the funding source for such service.
Honorable Mayor and council members, the existing telephone system, which was acquired in 1991, is stated may soon be unserviceable. As a result, staff requests the council's approval that the city advertise for requests for proposals, RFPs, from vendors for the purchase of a new telephone and voicemail system. It is estimated that the cost for this acquisition would be approximately $40,000. Staff seeks council authorization.
I just have a question on that, Paul. You know, we're coming up in the, with the Y2K year 2000, and it's new machinery, and also with FPPC or whatever else would be required in that. How would that affect this if we were to do it right now rather than to wait for until the end of the year or maybe the beginning of the year next year?
One of the things that could be done to address any concerns that might come to fruition as a result of Y2K is to require in the RFP that the vendors
Are in compliance.
ensure and then if there is Y2K problems, that they fix it at their own expense.
Okay, because I know we're not probably up to date on it, right? As a city.
I'm not
Reference to
sure.
what? I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, you know, by this voicemail tone, I believe it's going to be part of also FPC, Federal Communication Commission, and the you know, any machinery that may
Our present
need
system
to be in
not-
compliance.
Yeah, our present system is not.
It's not.
As far as I know.
Okay.
Y2K, our present telephone system.
Okay, and what if we were to wait to that? I know it's something that we probably need to make sure that, you know, we are in compliance, so we don't get something and then we have to turn it over 7 months later or 6 months later. You know what I'm saying? If the year 2000 comes along and then says, okay, now you have to be in compliance, so therefore this machine is out, whatever you adopted today is out the window and we're gonna have to bring something new in.
Well, that's why as Paul has stated that, you know, with being in the RFP itself,
Right.
it would ask for an assurance of Y2K compliance.
Okay, yeah, then I apologize, Paul. So,
It may be ADA compliance or
ADA.
yeah.
in case they need TDD1.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't know.
Oh, the-
Authorize the approval for acquisition of telephone and voicemail system. Make motion to.
Do I have a second?
Second?
Roll call vote?
Councilmember Frida?
Yes.
Councilmember Alvarez?
Yes.
Councilmember Cabrera?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Titus?
Yes.
Mayor Schultz?
Yes.
We need.
Under County Head Start, Leonard?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call vote?
Councilmember Frida?
Yes.
Councilmember Alvarez?
Yes.
Councilmember Cabrera?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Titus?
Yes.
Mayor Schultz?
Yes. Okay, Tony?
Yes, Mayor and Council, at the last council meeting, it was requested of the city attorney to report back to the council as to the city clerk's salary. At this time, I'd like to call upon Omar.
Yes, Mayor, members of the City Council, we have done a research regarding the City Council's authority, or anyone's authority for that matter, in setting the compensation of the city clerk. The government code is explicit and clear in providing that the City Council has wide authority to set the compensation of the city clerk by ordinance or resolution. The only, and this applies to both either an elected city clerk or an appointed city clerk. That's just the way the state legislature has provided for General Law City as the City of Hawaiian Gardens. The only limitations that we have found is that the salary that you do set be commensurate with the with the work that the city clerk performs. In other words, that you not set a compensation higher than the value provided by the city clerk, and this limitation is based on the gift of public funds prohibition set in the California Constitution. It would be Article 16, Section 6. Other than that, you have broad authority and full authority in setting the compensation. In other words, you decide what the value of the city clerk is, and you decide what the compensation for those values, for those services are. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Yes, Mr. Sandoval. You said work performance. How is that determined, or how can you determine the performance of the city clerk to get paid a certain amount?
Well, again, that is a policy decision that you decide. You make your findings. You know how much. You know how much services the clerk has provided in the past. You know how much you have paid city clerks in the past. An elected position, I understand, is fairly new for the city, but you have had an appointed city clerk in the past, and you can determine from the prior compensation and prior services how much it is. You may ask other cities how much they pay or they compensate the city clerks. It's really within your discretion and your policy how you arrive at that decision.
Has that study been made by this body or by staff? Has the study been made by staff as to what other cities pay? What is their policy to?
It's never been requested by this body to do such a study.
No, they just paid them.
It may be in order for us to maybe continue this on, and recommending staff to do some research and find out what other cities are paying and see what is requested or descriptions are. So that way we can, if not in respect to any city clerk or coming in or out, to be fair and also to make sure that we do a little bit of research before making a decision. So I'd like to recommend to continue this and recommend staff to do research to do the findings.
Got a motion?
Motion?
Second.
Would that be item 3 and 4 or just item 3?
No, that's 3.
Okay.
Do we need a vote?
Yeah.
A roll call vote? First and a second, and roll call.
Councilmember Pita?
Yes.
Councilmember Alvarez?
Yes.
Councilmember Cabrera?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Titus?
Yes.
Mayor Schultz?
Yes.
Mayor and Council, at this time, in light of new information, I'm requesting that item E4 be carried over to the next meeting.
Thank you. I'd like to make a motion to go on the request of the administrator.
Second.
Second.
3 seconds.
Roll call vote?
Councilmember Pita?
Yes.
Councilmember Alvarez?
Yes.
Councilmember Cabrera?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Titus?
Yes.
Mayor Schultz?
Yes. Well, under closed session, Tony?
Yes, we can, is it this under one motion or?
No, at this point,
Under both of them? Or can't we do them both?
yeah, we need to announce, at this point, the city council will recess to closed session, and actually the RDA will recess to closed session as well. And we have a matter to conduct conference with legal counsel regarding labor negotiations on the government code section 54,957.6. We also have a matter of conference with real property negotiator under government code section 54,956.8. We also have conference with real property negotiators under government code section 54,956.8. Those are both on, have been disclosed in the agenda. One matter is by right meat and provisions company Inc. versus RDA. The other matter is Bartha Donut Shop. And the fourth matter is conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation under government code section 54,956.9 B and C, and we have one potential case.
Oh, okay. You want me to send it to it?
Pardon?
You want me to send it to it?
Whatever you can do back there.
RDA are reconvening. There is nothing to report from closed session. No action was taken.
So we're on oral staff and oral council reports. If there's any, right?
I got it.
No
No report.
Well,
Motion to adjourn?
so be it.
Lucy. Okay, let's see. You guys have
What?
Okay, take it easy.